All right, let's dive right in. We're talking about a journey today, a journey from the murky, shallow parts of your life into the clear, vibrant deep. This isn't just a small change, it's a total transformation, one that makes you a citizen of a whole new dimension of yourself.
So, this question right here, this is our starting line. And look, when we say sin, let's not get caught up in some old school list of rules. Think of it more like muddy water. It's that heavy energy, those old patterns that just keep you stuck? It's that feeling of waiting in place when you know deep down you were absolutely designed to swim. And that really brings us to a fundamental choice, a choice we're all making, probably every single day. Are we going to stay in the murky, maybe even comfortable chaos of the shallows? Or are we brave enough to head for the deep, clear waters? Okay, so let's break down what these two realities actually look like. Over in the shallow waters, everything is driven by fear, by lack, by this constant, exhausting need for someone else to say you're okay. It is heavy, it's draining. But the deep, whoa, that's a different story. That's driven by faith, by abundance. It's all about internal alignment, about real growth, and just a high vibe energy. The contrast, honestly, couldn't be clearer. Now, feeling stuck? That's not just in your head, I promise you. There is a real, energetic weight to it. The mud, it has its own kind of gravity, its own set of rules that are designed to keep you anchored right where you are. And here is the most crucial redefinition of this whole idea. Sin is density. Just think of it as vibrational weight. All that unhealed trauma, those toxic attachments, the negative thought loops, every single one is like a stone in your pocket, making it harder and harder to just stay afloat, let alone swim out into the clear. Which brings us to a fundamental spiritual law, the law of resonance. It's simple, really. You can't tune your radio to a crystal clear, high-frequency station if your own signal is full of static. If you want to attract the peace and clarity of the deep, you have to shed the density of the mud first. You have to become a vibrational match for the life you're asking for. Okay, so if the deep water is so great, why is it so ridiculously hard to leave the mud? Why do we sometimes find ourselves, against our better judgment, swimming right back? Well, this is one of the toughest parts of the journey, and it's all about the powerful magnetic pull of what's familiar. I mean, this question just cuts right to the heart of all self-sabotage, doesn't it? Why do we prefer a known hell to an unknown heaven? The muddy water might suck, but at least it's a suck we understand. We know what to expect. The unknown clarity of the deep, well, that can feel absolutely terrifying. And here's why. Your ego's main job is to keep you safe. And to the ego, safe just means familiar. That's it. It will choose a predictable misery over an unpredictable joy almost every single time because that's its safety net. Loneliness is another huge reason we retreat. See, as you start to elevate, as you clean up your energy, you'll find that some people just can't breathe in that clearer air with you. Your tribe starts to change, and that gap, that period of time after the old has gone but before the new has arrived, man, that can feel incredibly isolating. This is why it is so crucial to reframe what's actually happening. What feels like a painful rejection is very often divine protection. That breakup is really a filtration system at work. And that loss you're grieving, it's actually an upgrade in progress, clearing out space for what truly fits your new frequency. Okay, so we get the problem, we get the physics, we get the psychology. Now for the big question. How do we actually do this? We're going to lay out a practical 7-day challenge to build the spiritual muscle you need to leave the shallows for good. This whole challenge really boils down to 4 core actions. First, you're going to audit the mud. Get brutally honest about the habits, people, and thoughts that are weighing you down. Second, you'll tune the frequency with intentional practices to raise your vibration. Third, you will learn to guard the gate, becoming a conscious protector of your own energy. And finally, you'll take bold, purposeful steps to actually start swimming in the deep. And you have to remember, this is not a passive process. Elevation requires conscious, deliberate action. It's about doing that detailed internal work, the healing, the releasing, the alignment. It's dotting your I's and crossing your T's. You simply cannot skip the process and expect to get the prize. And after putting in that work, a real shift starts to happen. You're no longer just a tourist in the clear waters. You start to become a resident. This is the graduation. This is you claiming your new identity.
So how do you know, really know, that you've changed? Here are the signs. Old habits suddenly feel cold. Old conversations just sound like noise. The things you used to do, they just don't fit anymore. And that's not a failure. That is tangible, undeniable proof that you have successfully outgrown an entire dimension.
And this right here is a moment to celebrate. Seriously, look at these images. This is you, no longer trapped by the mud, no longer caught on the hooks at the bottom. You have officially 100% graduated from the shallow end. You did the work, and you've earned your citizenship in the deep.
So, what now? Well, your mandate from here on out is simple, but it is absolutely non-negotiable. First, don't look back. Remember, familiarity is a trap. Second, protect your peace. You are the gatekeeper of your energy now. And third, keep swimming. Trust that the clarity of the deep is far, far safer than the murky shallows ever were.
Let's end with this final affirmation. This is your new pledge. I am no longer a resident of the shallow end. I release the weight of the mud to embrace the flow of the deep. Let that sink in. This is your new truth.
You know, this entire journey really comes down to this one last question. You've seen the path, you understand the price, and you know the prize. So the only thing left to ask yourself is this: are you ready to claim your citizenship?